Hey guys, I'm Austin Trojo, and today I'm here with Justin Robichaux. He is on staff here at University of Louisiana Lafayette. Justin, how about you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Well, first off, Austin, it's a pleasure, and I appreciate you asking me to do this with you. So you mentioned I am on staff as Director of Baseball Operations. I just started in December. I'm from Crowley, Louisiana, and was fortunate and blessed to get the opportunity to play here for 4 years, from 2007 to 2010. Went on to play a little bit of professionally before I started the real world, basically. And my road's been kind of interesting. Went to Notre Dame High School in Crowley, graduated in 2006, and then once I got out into the real world and realized that baseball kind of wasn't going to be my calling, I dabbled in the oil field a little bit, and then I got involved in the medical side and orthopedics, and then I'm here today. So blessed and honored to be in a position to represent this university, and specifically to be on staff, and it's been interesting to say the least.
So, you're a Director of Operations. I mean, I'm sure you oversee a lot of things. Could you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So on the baseball side, Coach Robichaux, as you know, he's the head coach, but there's things that go on throughout the course of the season and the off season that the duties are kind of delegated out, if you will. So a Director of Baseball Operations position is a position everyone really has, especially your D1s.
Mm-hmm.
What encompasses kind of what we do is we take everything on the administrative side, from budgets to travel, to where we're going to eat before or after the game, scheduling, those things that happen over the course of a 56 game schedule that a lot of people don't really know about, and a lot of people kind of take some of that stuff for granted, to be honest with you, because what they're worried about is showing up at Russo Park on Friday and Saturday and watching a good game. But what led up to that was a lot of planning, it was a lot of budgeting, and fortunate enough, once the game starts, we don't want to have any issues on our end. So typically on our duties in season, a lot of what we do has already been done, especially on the budgeting side, and on the scheduling side. So we're maintaining and making sure our processes have been good leading up to the season, and once the season's over, we kind of hit the ground running again.
Okay. Budgets. Could we go a little bit more in depth with that? Like our everyday use of equipment. Like, what do you guys take care of? What is on that budget?
So when you talk about budgets, there's it can get pretty lengthy. The overall goal is to have an actual projected and outcome when speaking in terms of budget. So that's kind of what we do on our side. We have a projected, forecasted of what we'll spend due to we're up in 2018 now. Our fiscal year runs July to July. So we take, for instance, we forecast off of our previous 2 years. We just realigned the conference with Appalachian State and Georgia Southern, as well as Georgia State. So we have more flight costs that are going to attribute to our estimated budget going up. Mm-hmm. So to really answer your question, the budget on our side really depends on the travel, how many flights are you taking. That's going to be the main derivative, and how we forecast a lot of that stuff is we know in advance the travel size that we're going to take, travel party included, and we can estimate some of that stuff to a certain extent, but that's what basically encompasses our budget for a main year leading up to February when we open up season.
Okay, so man, it seems like you got a lot going on with that.
Yeah, we do. It's a lot of planning, and budgets can be trimmed, they can be shaved, and at the end of the day, we better be under budget. It's better to be under budget than over budget.
So has there ever been Was there any like trips where y'all been over budgeted?
No, due to the fact that we know what is forecasted going into it. For
Okay.
instance, you guys are given per diem on a road trip.
Mm-hmm.
That's in the budget. We know that when we get there, we're going to be staying Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and coming home on Sunday. That's in there. We know we're going to have a bus scheduled from Thursday to Sunday. That's in there. And there is some fluff in there because there is some times where weather's an issue, and maybe, God forbid this would ever happen, but maybe there's an issue with the bus and maybe a mechanical breakdown that would make us go another route with getting another bus. There is some fluff in there to pad that number.
Okay. So equipment, like uniforms, that's all included in the budget?
So what we do on that end is it's called a bid list, and because we're a state institution, we have to bid out all of those pieces and components. We do have sponsorships. On the apparel side, we are sponsored by Adidas. So on the we sign a contract with Adidas that runs 3 years, and then once we'll know in the beginning of basically how many polo shirts, like the one you have on, how many polo shirts do we need for those guys to travel in? What's the workout gear going to consist of? How much are we ordering? All that budgeted number is based off of annual cost on what we project our needs are. We associate what our needs are, and then we direct those needs back directly to that budget to make sure A, I'm not over budget, and B, my needs are met at the same time. So that can consist of uniforms, bats, gloves, baseballs, you name it, it's in there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You mentioned y'all are state funded, so I'm assuming there's no single person who's in charge of this budget.
Actually, from a overall, athletic department standpoint, yes, there is.
Okay.
And that master budget consists of, all the sports, and it breaks down each sport specifically, and it goes into detail all the way down to, the toilet paper that it takes to, fill the restrooms, to the phone lines, you name it. We have it down close to the dollar amount on what it takes to run this place during a day. But to answer your question, that's kind of above my pay grade. On our end, we're just worried about, what it takes to run a successful 56-game schedule and to not be over budgeted.
All right, well, thank you for your time, Justin.
Absolutely. Appreciate it also.
So I never miss, no, this